know Sam longer than I do.
Yes. Hi, Sam. It's really wonderful to see you again and to have you join us on the podcast and to tell us about all the amazing things that the Citrus Academy is doing.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do and about the Citrus Academy.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's always good to see you, and it's good to be around. I am Sam Louw. I'm from the Citrus Academy. I am the newly minted engagement manager at the Citrus Academy. So what that basically means is that stakeholder engagements, communication, and all type of, shall we say, relationship building that we do within the Academy on behalf of the CGA in the citrus industry. That's what I do. Now, as for the citrus industry, the CGA has got many functions that they do, and one of it is looking at skills development. So they've developed the Citrus Academy as an entity, headed by Jacqueline de Klerk. And so we look at skills development on behalf of the industry. We enable skills development. We create a environment in which industry stakeholders, entities, so that's farms, packhouses, and nurseries. That's when it comes to their, human resource needs, that we are a resource tool for them that they can use. So we develop learning materials, we develop learning resources in the idea that where there is gaps or where service providers aren't fulfilling those type of roles, that we can fill the gap until they can then take that process over. As far as what we are currently doing, I would just like to say, like, for instance, right now, the week of the 10th to the 14th of June, we are doing a pilot on a supervisor training course. It's right now, it is the Train the Trainer program that we are doing. So the idea there is that we would train specialist trainers. They would be certified in the process, and then they would go out into the field amongst the growers in the regions that they know and that the growers are comfortable with. And then they would then do the training on farm for those. All of these programs that I've just spoken about, it is on our website, citrusacademy.org.za, and there you can find registration pages on which you can really just sign up or get more information, and then bring your processes around learning and development in line with what's out there. But more importantly, if you need a starting point, you can always just contact me. I think that would be the best. That would be a good start.
Now, these trainers that you guys are training, who are they?
They would be
anybody?
So they would be, when it comes to citrus enterprises, for instance, it would be people.
Sorry, who would be if you say citrus enterprise?
So citrus enterprises would be citrus growers.
Okay.
It would be nurseries, and
okay.
it would be packhouses.
Okay.
Right. So within these organizations, there is normally somebody that heads training or that actually does the training. So they would be one segment. It could be skills development enterprises that work with these growers, so they can also do this type of training, because we develop the framework and then they would actually do the work. And then also anybody who is, for instance, we have consultants and we have specialists who deal with growers on a weekly or monthly basis. So they can also do these courses. But what we really ask for is people who have some type of skills development background, and then also have got some type of expertise within citriculture,
Okay.
So that would be
Okay.
good.
Interesting. Sorry, Louise. I'm curious.
Yes.
So, okay. Where I'm coming from this is my wife is a teacher.
Yes.
But I know there's a lot of teachers out there that don't like teaching kids anymore.
Yeah.
How easy would it be for somebody like that to step into a role like that?
I think that would be a good way also to switch lanes. You've got training in facilitation or teaching methodology, so that's already down. So now it's just about getting a handle on the subject matter.
Yes.
So yeah, somebody who had been a teacher previously or are a teacher, I think they would be a good fit for something like the supervisor program that we also have. Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. I also would just like to say that we have learning programs that focuses on worker level, on supervisor level, on middle management level also, and then on an organizational side also looking at continuous professional developments and then also best practice within the organization. So we kind of make sure that we cover all aspects of enterprise sustainability. Yeah, so that's also part of the focus that we have. And previously, you've seen in the news also, we have shifted a little bit of our attention also towards secondary school level.
I think that's a big part that we want to chat about.
So with regard to those type of programming also is that building that career pathway for somebody in grade 8 being exposed to what the citrus industry actually entails, then going post school where we have bursary funds, funding available that you can apply for, which is also 1 June until 15 September is the application window, all on our website. So that would also be a good way of developing that career pathing. Then attached to that also we look at industry exposure programs through the bursary fund. So this would be where CRI workshops or the symposia or any type of expertise level symposia that is available for these students that we will assist where we can with funding for them to go to these these events, and they can immerse themselves within the industry. So that is also just all in that path of making sure that people, when they say they are in the citrus industry, that they really feel that they have a place and a space for themselves in it. And then also once you are accepted into an organization, we have really steady work as a program which is kind of an induction and a coaching, which has an induction and a coaching component. So before you start working, there's the ready part of it. The steady part is where, from an organization point of view, where the management, HR, and operational guys can then, be guided in how coaching can be approached. And then the work part is it's an ongoing process where, for the first 6 months of them being employed, that they can have kind of a checklist or a guide that will take them through, the onboarding process of how your experiences within the organization as a new entrant, how that would be. So we've kind of also tried to fill that gap. So yeah. So as you can see, there is multiple programs with multiple inlets into this career path that we try and create for any South African who feels that agriculture is still an exciting space, the citrus industry that's very dynamic, and then also just living out your best life within the work that we do.
Sam,
yes,
you're talking about the present and the future. I want to ask you about the past.
Yes.
I want to ask you about who is the Citrus Academy? What motivated it? How did it develop? I think it's quite important. Like you were talking about the website, the About Us part, please.
And I've got a question that joins up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what was your inroad into this industry?
Yes.
Well, that's That's a very
Start
interesting.
with my one first. Then you can go to his one.
So the Citrus Academy flowed out of the CGA's need to look at human resource development, skills developments, and then also aspects of transformation. Jacomine de Klerk, our general manager, was in fact brought in to establish the Citrus Academy, and what the Citrus Academy had grown into, is quite an interesting tale in its own right. But I think you also need to have Jacomine on here again, where she can really set out, the journey, because it is quite interesting.
I must let Louise show you the WhatsApp that I sent her. I sent Jacomine de Klerk because we need to speak to her again, specifically on the high school thing. But we'll get to that.
Through the development of the Citrus Academy. The bursary fund played a very big part in attracting, a new talent into the industry, creating that pipeline of bringing people into the industry. I also do remember, because I started in 2010, so I also do remember that at that time the team was really small, but the amount of work that we did was amazing. To be the funky parts in the industry, to have the energy to deal with new entrants, young researchers coming into the industry. Looking at the production side, also, getting guys from agricultural colleges and from universities, coming into the industry, giving it a bit of excitement. That was good in terms of what we do. But the big work back then was around standardizing learning material, Citrus-specific learning material on the old NQF legacy qualifications, level 2 to level 5. That was the big work. And then also the development of audiovisual learning material that made the learning a little bit more accessible. We have visual learners also, and this is a nice way for them to also, be part of what we did. So, the big opus at that time was the Citrus Post-Harvest series that we had, which was a series of DVDs that takes into account these.
For the young people that's listening, that's a disc you used to play on your TV.
Yes, indeed.
Because some youngsters don't even know what a bloody DVD is now.
And the idea around this was that we would be making these discs available to the industry, and that would be a resource that they can that the Citrus enterprises can use when they are augmenting their training with AV learning material. This covered industry overview and the process flow within the packhouse, but then also post-harvest management practices, also post-harvest disease management, and then what was of great interest to me, because at that time, the post-harvest DVD series was my induction into the industry. So it's a joke, but I discovered in 2010 for the first time that anarchy isn't just anarchy, but that there is, multiple varieties that's around. But more importantly, after a few years, I was amazed that I could recall them and that I can see the differences now,
Yes.
So having this exposure, made me better at my job, made me able to talk to growers more effectively. And so now just imagine if you are a new entrant into the industry and you have these materials available to you, these resources available to you, so that when it comes for you to do the work that you need to do, that you have this foundation. And I think that was really good work that was put into the industry around 2008 to 2011. Yeah.
But even now, if you go onto YouTube and you search citrus production in South Africa,
yes,
the Academy videos pop up.
We've worked really hard to put those audiovisual material on to make it available, as freely available as possible. But then also over time we've added new shall we say sections, planting management, IPM. We've looked at harvesting, and the idea here is that when you try and search online for citrus specific information in South Africa, it's kind of sometimes difficult, because a general search would get you, horticulture practices for gardening, or
there's a lot of it. It's mostly you'll mostly find it for the backyard grower.
So what we normally just say is, in South Africa, if you want to know anything about citrus in terms of audiovisual learning material, put in there Citrus Academy or CRI, and you'll get Citrus Academy videos, and recently also CRI small little planting videos, plant citrus related videos.
And those are our videos.
Sorry?
That's our videos.
Lovely. So there you go. But what it does is that, when you have a student at school or at university looking for information, they'll be able to find South African learning material, or just guides. Similarly too, for new entrants into the citrus industry, it's a good starting point, I think.
So how did you enter?
I accidentally entered into agriculture. I started my career in education and training in Natal, and I was a generalist.
A generalist.
A generalist.
Not a journalist.
So basically what that means is that the administration parts of skills development is where I kind of made my bones. And there was an application for an administrator at the Citrus Academy, and I didn't know it was the Citrus Academy at that time. It was just mentioned it was an NGO, and I applied, and it happened to be Yakumina and her team, and we clicked really well. And 15 years later, I'm still here.
Wow. I wanted to ask you something specific, and that is the bursary program. I've had the opportunity to meet some of the people that went in there, and the capacity building that has happened over time. I don't want to put you on the spot, but how do you know approximately how many people have been through the bursary program?
Okay.
Over time?
Sure. I do not have the latest figures going through, but I just under 400 bursaries was issued since 2006, 2007.
Sure.
Yes.
Now just swallow that. That's quite something.
Yeah.
And what that has meant to those people and where they are today.
Okay. So
the capacity building that's happened.
So we have we did a survey last year in 2023, and some of the data that had come out of there was brilliant. We've had quite a few successes over time, I have to say, and I'm proud of each and every one that had been on a journey with us. So we have people that are employed in the citrus industry, in greater agriculture, and also in academia as well as government departments. And the spread we're going to have to look at those numbers, but I think we can try and get those numbers to you. But the idea is that the retention rate within the greater agricultural sector is very good. We are pleased. We are pleased with that.
Wow.
What that really also mean is, for us, is that when we look at the combination of, yes, the funding that we do, but then also the industry exposure programs that we have, and then also the what is now called work integrated learning. So that would be also internships, vacation work, and those type of things. All of these aspects creates a type of stickiness that get people to love being in agriculture.
Well, you're a prime example of that.
Yeah. Love agriculture, love being in the citrus industry, and they are able to see that in this long value chain that is the citrus industry, that there is space for them, that there is place for them, and that there is a willingness of the industry to absorb them. So, yeah.
Sure. Wow. Okay, so the school program.
Yes.
In a nutshell, how did that idea came about? And I know that it's been very well received in the news and on social media and things like that. There's been quite a bit of buzz around it. So, how was the idea conceived? How do schools get involved with it? I know that you guys got a select list of schools at the moment.
Yes.
But let's say there's another school who want to get involved. I think just tell us what you can about it.
Okay. So the Citrus Secondary Program is an initiative that basically says the following. If there is a school who is in a citrus production region,
which is everywhere in
which is almost everywhere, yes, and you as a school would like to get your learners in touch with the industry, or to create space, either be it as part of the agricultural syllabus or as an after-school agricultural club program, then the Citrus Secondary Program can be a very effective tool for that. So what we envisage this program to be is that learners who are in grade 10 and in 11 will go through a 2-year program where the citrus production calendar is used as a template for the learnings that they do.
Just 10 and 11, not 12.
No. We say 10 and 11 because 12 is such a pivotal year for these learners anyway, that we don't want to split their focus also.
And in 11, they need to start applying for universities.
Exactly. And then they will then be exposed to what agriculture and the industry look like and can look like with them in it, and therefore they'll have a greater understanding of which directions they can go into or apply for when it comes to institutions or bursaries or faculties for that matter. So grade 10 and grade 11 is the target market. What we also try and do is that this is not a Citrus Academy program. This is a collaboration between the Citrus Academy, who have developed the learning resources and the methodology. It is the school who organizes the learners, who organizes the facilitator and the space for this learning, both in terms of time and actual space. It is also the citrus industry in that region, because growers would have to be part of this process also. These kids go and have practical experiences, in the orchards or on or in the packhouses when it comes to the post-harvest work. So it's everybody working together for the benefits of these kids. So a couple of things will be the result. We've spoken about the children being able to have a greater understanding of what the citrus industry look like, but then also we are developing a pool of employable youth, which makes absorption into the industry a little bit more enticing for employers out there. And then also, I've spoken to some kids when I go to career fairs, and I ask them a very innocent question. So you've lived in this area your whole life. I went into the Packhouse for the first time in 2011, right? And I was already an adult. Have you been inside one of those brilliant, big, gigantic buildings that churns out, millions and millions of cartons? And, it's like, nee, ek was nog nooit daar nie. I haven't been, So just having this exposure, I think, is brilliant in its own right. If nothing else, just them being exposed to the actual work that goes into these farms, the technology that is attached to these, the actual businesses that is on the land. Understanding all of this, I think, will make them stay.
Because there might be a youngster in there that wants to be an architect or
Yes.
an engineer or a mechanic, but they don't know that those can be in the citrus or the agricultural
Yes,
industry. They
yes.
think the engineer
Yeah.
I want to build bridges and buildings and whatever, but they could build these things also.
So in our bursary fund over the last, say, about 8 years or so, we've also looked at engineering as an avenue for which we would look at funding bursaries for. So this would be a mechanical, electrical engineering in terms of the packhouses.
And chemical.
To a certain extent, process engineering also. The idea here is that these are, hard to fill vacancies, or these are scarce skills within the industry. And if we can assist in sourcing, or at least, expanding the pool from which growers can choose for, then I think we are also successful in adding a little bit more value.
Yeah.
So the youngsters, we all remember how impressionable we were as teenagers.
Yes.
And if
Yeah, well,
you
there's a
get
lot of different
exposure-
things that made impressions on me when I was a teenager.
Yes, Dewald. Yes. But let's stick with this. Let's stick with the citrus and stay away from the navels and anything else, okay? So what I'm saying is taking these youngsters and showing them about the citrus industry, getting them onto the farms and into packhouses. It's like, oh, okay, this is how this works. So that when they go on and they write their matric and they go out into the world, there is something they've seen and it's in their mind, it's in the back of their mind. This could work for me, especially
Yes.
if they're in an area where the citrus industry is right there.
Right.
And I mean, we know that going out into the world today, it's quite difficult. If you can actually study and maybe even study from home, work from home, it's a lot cheaper to stay with mom and dad. Yes, it's a little bit more tricky having to negotiate your parents' rules. But if you can study and work where you are from, it just makes things a lot easier.
Oh yes. And some of the most beautiful places in South Africa that I've seen are these valleys in which citrus are produced, or and why would you not want to live there if you can, but also I really do think that with the Vision 260 and the expansion of the citrus industry, when you look at human capital developments, and when you look at the space that will need to be made for more people having to come into the industry, if you develop that pool of specialists, if you develop that cohort of people that can be absorbed into the industry as these, new heels come online, as, the new cartons are being exported, it will make all of our efforts useful. The idea here is that somebody can source individuals from the area who knows the history of the place, who understand that my grandfather worked here, my mom worked here, my older brother worked here, and now I'm working here, and we all have really different jobs, but we are all part of the same industry. We're all part of the same family, for that matter.
And that can also be that their grandfathers could have been a farm worker.
Yes.
Could have just been a tractor driver, just been a picker, but now he comes in as a packhouse manager, for instance.
Exactly.
Or an engineer.
Yeah.
Or an accountant.
Yeah. And that's the excitement for me. That's the excitement for me. That development, being able to say, I had a minuscule role in this, but it was, and it is a great thing. I love it.
Yes.
So the secondary program started this year, is that correct?
It piloted last year in 2023, where we had 3 schools. Yes.
May you name them?
Yes. So in the Eastern Cape, it was Nikumalan. That's in Humansdorp.
Yes.
And then
Quite a big
Kirkwood.
school in the area, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Yes, very. And then Kirkwood High School in Kirkwood in the Sundays River Valley, and Moses Mabhida, which is also on the Kirkwood side of the Sundays River Valley. And we have expanded the number of schools throughout the country for 2024. So these are the new schools coming on that had come online. And they are spread out also in the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, in Limpopo, and in Mpumalanga.
And there's one in Western Cape.
There was plans to have one in the Western Cape, but we've had to keep put that on hold just to give them some more time to also look at their processes. But we are very hopeful that they will come online in the next year.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And how's it going? What are people saying?
It's been going good. It's been going good. Like with all pilots, there have been growing pains, but we are working on making sure that the kids have a good experience with the program, and we support the schools also to make sure that where there is slight growing pains, that they have somebody that they can speak through and go through it. Yes.
So what's the feedback been from the kids that's been in the programs?
Lovely.
Because
It's one of those, and I was actually thinking that one of the things that we should do is to profile the schools and the facilitator, and maybe get some vox pops from the kids. That would be interesting. Just to go on the journey with them. Yeah.
No, because future kids will see them being part of it, so
Yeah.
it might entice them to come in more.
Yeah. No. That's for sure.
And if I may ask the question, what was the demographic of the kids that took part of it? Was it predominantly black children, white children?
No. It's a whole range. It's a whole range. So you have your Model C schools, but you also have your schools in rural villages and in suburban locations. So you do kind of have a nice spread and a nice mix from what you can term well-off schools to schools that, with the supports of the community and the industries around them, are able to put together a computer lab, which the children can then use, to work on our program also.
And in the trials?
Yeah, no. Similarly too, we've, like I said, a school like Moses Mabhida, which is a brilliant school in the Sundays River Valley, and they are doing exceptionally well, academically on their own. So adding this program just adds another feather in their cap. But they are a school in a location. And then on the other side, you have a school with a good agricultural reputation, like Nikumalan on the other side. And yet the kids in both of these schools, love the program. They've been on the program. They've stayed on the program, which is always a nice metric,
Yes.
when you have kids that want to be part of this. So yeah. And that, I think, is part of the success of a program like this, is that it can be implemented with some help. It can be implemented at various type of schools with various types of, so we say, resources. You could still.
Here's the next question. Okay, I've asked about the demographic that
Yes.
you're in. What is the split between boys and girls? And the reason I'm asking is because I see there's a lot of young girls coming into the
Yes.
agriculture industry,
Yes.
and they are kicking ass. They're doing very well.
That's the statistic. I can't tell you because I'm not too certain of it. But anecdotally, we do have a situation where you would have probably about a 45% split, with 55 being girls, 45 being boys, and it's just an exciting program. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks very much for sharing that. Looking down the road, Citrus Academy, have you got anything that you can share that's coming up, or just?
For us at this point in time, you will find some of us at the CRI symposium in August. We will be there. We will not have an exhibition stand this year, but you will find me there, and you can come and say hi, or ask me any type of question around the learning programs, the learning resources, and any type of projects that we have, or how we can assist you in any way with your HRD type of work that you're doing. I am available. You can definitely get in touch with me. And then also the Superpower program, which is our supervisor.
Superpower program.
Yes,
Love
it's the Citrus Superpower program. That's
Okay.
what we call it. We want to have two more train the trainer courses, probably in the second half of this year. One in Gqeberha and then one in Cape Town. To complement the one that we are currently having in Pretoria. And then also, what is of great importance is 1 June till 15 September is the bursary fund application window. Everything is done online. Go onto the website, citrusacademy.org.za. Do the registration online, follow the prompts on there, and good luck.
And I've actually sent a couple of. I've got young kids in school, so
Yes.
we've got a lot of our friends are teachers and people with kids in school still. So I've actually sent them the academy's way
Yeah.
quite a few times already.
Nice.
Since
Thank you.
we've spoken to Yakumin last time. But now that it's the registration's open now, I'll
Yeah.
follow up with them.
Yeah.
Again. Did you apply? Did you go there?
And in terms of our e-learning programs that we do have some specials. If you are a registered student, then there is massive discounts on the e-learning programs that we have available. So go online, go into the e-learning section under registrations, and there you will find all of the different programs that we have available. Choose one that fits with you, and then I think the discounts is cut all the way to like 80%.
Wow.
For students. If you are part of a Black enterprise, then all of our courses are essentially free.
Okay.
And for the rest of the industry, if you need to organize a specific face-to-face course, then just have a chat with us, and we will try and make the arrangements so that we can have one in your area. So we will work with you on having that. Or you can just get your staff to do it online where possible. And that can all be part of your skills development strategy or your normal training plan. So you can just factor all of that in there. But like I said,
And for a big business, that can be a tax deductible. Am I correct? Not?
your skills development spend can be used to calculate for your BE points. It can be also used in certain instances. It can be used for your overall skills development strategy. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
I've got a question.
We have a tradition. That's
Yes.
when we wrap up, before we finish off, we ask a question which was asked by a previous podcast guest.
Yes.
It's a random question, and they don't know who's going to be asked, so it's just one of those. And Dewald has the question for you.
Yeah. What is your perfect day, work-wise and personal-wise?
Okay. So work-wise, my perfect day really is time spent, in the field, talking to a grower or talking to a group of people about the citrus industry. It energizes me. I love it. I love being able to share, their expectations and their wonderments in the work that we do, but then also for myself, just to be able to talk about the citrus industry and the work that we do. I love that. Personally, I am quite a reader.
Okay.
So anywhere where there is a couch and there is a book, I like that. Yakumin recently introduced me to Audible. So now that
So you're becoming a listener.
So now that I'm traveling, I'm racking up the badges in Audible. So that's that's also quite a nice addition to it. Yeah.
Anything particularly you like to read or to listen to, like fiction or?
I am a nerd when it comes to fantasy, high fantasy, epic fantasy.
Okay.
I that's my little well, not so little anymore and not so secret anymore, but that's me. That's me, just enjoying myself. But then also when it comes to non-fiction, it is about eclectic books about the world. I'm not so much autobiography, but if there's one or two that have got some good reviews, I will do that. But I'm the kid that read the Encyclopedia Britannica when it was raining in Cape Town and you can't go out and play. So I basically tend to read anything. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Very interesting.
Wonderful. Sam, thank you very, very much.
Yes. It's been very interesting.
This has been very interesting and incredibly inspiring.
Thank you.
So keep doing what you're doing, and the Citrus Academy has always been an inspiration. So you guys just keep at it, and because the capacity you've built and the difference you've made to people's lives and to the citrus industry, just please keep it up.
And thanks for falling in so quickly with us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you.
you.
But we are around. Love it.